Ready or not, we going go next week. You know,
Yes,
sometimes
sir.
you get a little too ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And you just gotta go. You just gotta go. Sometimes you want it too perfect, and you just gotta go, man. You know what I mean?
yeah. I agree.
So next week we gonna have you live in the studio.
Yes, sir. It's time.
Let me go ahead and share this.
All right, I'm gonna get it out too.
I don't know if it's the update or what, but my shit is always sticking. Pause. Like I'm trying to type the caption.
Yeah, mine do that too sometimes.
I'm just gonna go ahead and share it. All right, 1 2 1 2 1 2. You are into Good Life, Ohio. With my man Tim Russ, man. We got a great show for you this Thursday. Back like we never left, man. I wanted to really feed off of Tim today, and he has a lineup. I mean, a bullet point lineup for some things that he wants us to talk about today. So I'm just gonna bullet points, and before we even get started, I want you to just go ahead and share this on your page, especially if you feel like any of this stuff is enlightening, if stuff is useful to you guys. That's the best way to get the word out. The best way to get the word out is to go ahead and share it on your page. It costs you nothing. You know, we're not in the habit of begging or anything like that because our movement is going to move forward anyway. But I know that we do get positive feedback on this show because we are so transparent. Me and Tim, we agree on a lot, but when it comes time to kind of disagree, we opinions and values and things of that nature. This is what I love about this show, man. I told him last week when we were in the green room. I said, this is one of the shows that I'm a part of that I really get excited for the day before. I really get excited about the show the day before, you know what I'm saying? Because I know that I'm going to be speaking to my intellectual partner, you know what I'm saying? And we can really dig deep into a lot of the social ills that plague us as a community, man. So without further ado, man, good morning, Tim. What's going on, man?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Shit, everything and nothing at the same time, man. Just being present, trying to make sense of all this, you know.
Yeah. Um, Before Tim gets started, I want to give my condolences, even though the man in New York was homeless. I want to give my condolences to the man that lost his life on the New York subway. I believe it was yesterday, and it's been talked about on the Breakfast Club and a few other spots. But you know, hopefully we can get into people really digging deep in why physical violence is necessary, especially well past the age of adolescence, well past the age of your high school years. When I see grown people in the club actually resorting to physical confrontation to handle their conflict, I really want to at least touch on that at some point today because I just, you know, I feel like we're all adults and there's really no need to put your hands on people unless you are in direct threat of physical violence or you know just something that can exterminate you. I don't like that should be a resort to resort to. So I want to touch on that. But what do you got on the table today, my man?
Okay. Yeah, we definitely touched on that for sure. So what I got on the table today is marriage versus relationship, which I feel like we're gonna start wherever in that conversation. It's gonna come full circle. I think a lot of things we're gonna talk about today is related to that topic.
Mm, What made you come marriages
Uh,
versus dating?
Um, I think people's input, like for example, when we posted the Chance situation on the beach, I don't get wrapped up in the situation and what happened. I'm curious to how people feel about what happened and why they feel that way.
Right.
So something that's always stuck with me, one of my middle school coaches told me is KYP. You got to know your personnel. If this kid's not a good 3-point shooter, don't give him the ball outside the 3-point line. You know what I mean? I think that is missing in our relationships. I think there's a lot of relationships where the people don't know each other. And we're not talking about your name, your favorite color, your favorite meal, what you like sexually. We're talking about like your desires, your goals, where you plan on heading in life. There's a lot of people who are content with just being in relationships, and they're in a relationship with somebody who's trying to get married. Like, that's a big difference. Right. It may not seem like it today, but in the long run, like, that's a big difference. And I think a lot of times we have to not decide today, okay, I want to be married one day, or I can see myself just dating the rest of my life. But we have to have that conversation coming into the relationship with our partners. I don't think enough people are having that conversation of where do we really see this going? Are we just here having fun for a few years? Or can you really see me with you the rest of your life? Because I think that will dictate how we move in that situation.
Well, that's the thing, is that now in the year 2023, we have to get out of the mentality that your husband or wife is your property. We are more individual thinkers than we were in the Bible days, in the Roman days, and when your wife was actually your property. And that was one of those things, is that when you pick that person, you pick that person for childbearing. Why? Because, you wanted to create healthy, strong people so that they can tend the farm. So sense of survival. Love, people don't realize that love didn't have anything to do with marriage until the 20th century. Right. Love little to do with marriage. Right. That is a new concept.
Absolutely.
So that being said, it was lawful to stone your wife if she was being unfaithful. It was lawful for you to be able to kill a man if he raped or seduced your wife. It was lawful that these things could happen because that was your property. And then, of course, with the whole the women's liberation thing, right? Things got reversed. So now your husband is your property. And what people don't realize, I believe, in the 21st century is that we're individualists. So even though people are agreeing to come together for marriage, they still want to be like, well, I'm not your property. I'm still an individual. And I don't think we have yet. Those lines are blurred. If you will.
I like how you put that. I see it a different way. I don't disagree that your way is a way. I think both of these ways are happening. I love the concept of property. I think the problem with relationships, that what is missing is reciprocation. I don't think any of these things are bad. They're just bad when it's one-sided, when only one person can benefit from it and the other one kind of has to pay into it. You know what I mean? I agree. Love is a new concept, but I think love is important in marriage and relationships. I think that is the reason it kind of sprouted into love, into marriage and relationships. It's because realistically, like, as men, let's put ourselves in a woman's shoes 200, 300, 1,000 years ago. You know what I mean? Imagine you coming to a woman saying, look, I want you to raise my kids, take care of my home. You know what I mean? You only have eyes for me for the rest of your life. Imagine a woman doing that if she doesn't love you. That would be damn near impossible. Right. And then you getting upset because she cheats, especially with a person she loves. Like, come on. Like, I think as men, we just were trying to think logically. We were the ones coming up with the ideas. We were the ones shaping how the world went. And it was just straight off logic. And that would be great in a perfect world. That might be great at a job. But in a relationship at home, there's feelings involved. There's hella feelings involved. Right. So now we had all these times where these feelings weren't getting addressed. But women were still having these feelings. Some men were still having these feelings. So now everyone's over addressing their feelings. You know what I mean? We're still not in the good. We're no better than what they were doing back in the day. We just have new devils today. We have new issues today. But we all got problems. You know what I mean? So I feel like what we have to find is the reciprocation. But when you start a relationship and we're already looking in two different directions, it's hard for us to find a middle. It's hard for us to want to do the give and take. I feel like one person's benefiting from this relationship and one person's tired.
Well, I was talking to the guys last night, and let's kind of bring your concept together with mine, because when you get together with anyone, I don't even care if you're in prison. when you're in prison, that the tribal concept comes together whether you like it or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because close proximity to another person, we're all social creatures, right? So therefore, I was talking last night to the fellas. When you're in close proximity to someone for an extended period of time, you automatically develop a social contract. So what that social contract is basically, I like this, you don't like that, and we're going to work some kind of cohabitation together. We're going to work some kind of thing out to where we can at least live harmoniously, whether that's or not. We're going to develop something that where either it's tolerable or it's accepted, whatever the case may be. You guys are coming together on a social contract. Now, with what you were saying, once you've been in proximity for so long, this is why people grew to love that husband, whether they didn't like him or not. That was your family. That was so in that tribal state, you grow to love that person over time because why? Look at Mr. Seeley. Mr. didn't love Seeley at first, but he grew dependent on Seeley because she ran the damn house. So of course, considering Seeley was his property, he wasn't trying to let Seeley go nowhere. You know?
Right, correct.
So even with those particular social contracts, there's a sense, it's a sixth sense of love, but there's a sense of love there because it's like, hey, you belong.
I agree, but I mean, in that sense, hate is still love. You know, hate is just misguided love.
Right.
So I do agree people grew to love each other, but I think more people grew to resent each other, especially if we actually look back on our parents' marriages. And I ain't talking about marriages like 10 years, 15 years under. I'm talking about people that's been together 30, 40 years. I usually see them more times than not. It seems like they resent each other more than I would say they love each other. So yeah, you can form a type of connection with somebody. It doesn't mean it's a healthy connection. You know what I mean? And being in close proximity, like it could work, but it's not enough. I think you already have to start with that sense of love because through the term of a marriage, anything long term, you're going to fall out of love because you have to learn to re-love it in a new aspect. So if you've never learned to love this thing, yeah, some people could probably pick it up, but I feel like most people are going to fail. They're going to have one type of relationship and then they're going to put everybody in their life through that type of relationship because that's the only relationship they feel secure in. But relationships are about insecurity. It's about you fucking up. It's about you being embarrassed. It's about you not knowing what you're doing and trusting this person enough that they're going to help you guide to learning what you're doing. So we have these relationships again with two people who don't really know each other. They think they know what they want. They think they know what to make each other happy, but they don't have these conversations in the beginning. In the construct that you explain, yes, that thing is very real. But this is where I would say I only experience that with men. I don't experience that with women. When men come into a new situation, and I know me and this man has to be in a situation that I don't really fuck with him, but we got to work together for 6 months. I'll come to him day one like, look, I don't really care for you, but we got a job we got to do, and I'm going to do my job. Like, I'm not going to come here and give you no problems. I'm not going to be an asshole to you, but just know I don't fuck with you. So over this 6 months, let's say I come help you in your station. Don't start thinking we friends or we cool. Don't go home and tell your kids you got a new buddy at work. I'm here to do my job. You're here to do your job, and we're going to do that separately. See, I don't think women have developed that. A lot of times I experience women, they're like, okay, I'm going to allow this man to get it. Instead of you just being transparent from day one and saying, look, I just want to fuck buddy this summer. I don't see us getting married. You ain't going to meet my parents. Like, this ain't all of that. We just kicking and having fun. You know what I mean? So it's hard for things to grow because we both have different intentions on where we want it to go. So we're both trying to push it in two different directions.
Let's go back to your social contract with your coworker, right?
Yeah.
It's all good until it's not. It's all good until it's not.
Man.
So therefore, you day in, day out have a social contract with this person that you don't like. Until there's a compatible worker that basically now, let's say, the company comes to you and says, I got this $1 million project and I'll let you be the project manager and pick who you want. Now you have a social contract with this person that you know can do the job that you don't like. But now there's a person that can also do the job that you do like. Who do you think that you're going to pick to go on this to go on this new endeavor with? You're going to pick the person that you like. You know what I'm saying? So it's all
more times than not, yeah.
Right. So therefore, this is why I'm bringing this home here. This is why you shouldn't settle with a partner. This is this is going back to the lady yesterday. I'm sure everybody saw it where she said something was missing. No matter what that missing was, she didn't feel that there's something about this man I don't like. So guess what? I can settle for 5 things. But when this man comes along that completes that missing thing that this man doesn't have, 9 times out of 10, I'm either going to be attracted to him, I'm going to be seduced by him, especially if it's a mutual interest, and I'm pretty much going to want to go this way, vice versa that way. Sometimes we pick good enough. We were like, okay, I can deal with this person, I can this, that, and the other. But when something comes along that is really compatible for you, that you really, if you had taken your time and says, you know what, you're cool, you're great, you meet all these particular categories, but there's one thing that I feel like if I invest all this time with you and the person that I really want comes along, I'm probably not going to stay with you. And this is why a lot of people get it fucked up.
We'll say a lot of women because they lead in divorce and they leave because they're not happy. But this is what I'm saying as far as men. Like, what you said is 100% true and can happen, but there's a whole nother side to that story. And for most people, yeah, they'll pick the person they like because this is the person they like. When they say the best in something, they mean their favorite. See, for me, I move with different intentions. So me and you can make the same choice, but do it for different reasons and get a different outcome. So I'm picking the person I like because I trust this person. When we're doing a job, I don't care if you're the best person to do the job. I care that I can communicate with you. I care that I can trust you. I care that you're going to have good morale around the team. I'll take an A+ attitude person and a B- worker over an A+ worker and a B- attitude any day of the week. Any type of business, any type of work, life partnering. And I'm not picking this person because I like them. Again, I'm picking them because I know when we get in the mud, they'll come talk to me. I can talk to them. They'll be understanding. This person I don't like, there's already a language barrier there. Whether we like it or not, whether I agree with it or not, is there. And I have to be acknowledgeable about that. And I have to be mindful of that moving forward. So yeah, you might be the best person to do this job, but let's say we run into a snag. And now the job's not even getting done because we can't communicate with each other because that barrier's there. And let's say this person that I'm cool with starts fucking up early. See, now I can communicate with them and educate them, which is going to make them better in the job, I feel, in the long run. So I think a lot of reason divorce is happening is because people are going for the person that seems like the good husband and not the person that's compatible with them. The reason the divorce rate's so high is because a lot of these marriages were arranged. So they were going with the best candidate. People today are in relationships for compatibility. I think that's something social media likes to lie about. But a lot of people are in relationships for security. They're in there for status. They're in there for who they think their partner is. These people aren't compatible. They don't communicate with each other. They don't trust each other. That's not compatibility. Compatibility is being able to fuck up around somebody, be embarrassed, be shy, be new, be young, be yourself. People these days don't know who they are to be themselves, so they're dating who they want their persona to be in a relationship with. And look at how it's going.
I don't. Here's the thing, and I have to be objective to your comment that when you put more weight on the women, let's break that down for a second.
Yeah.
And trust me, there is no brown on my nose. Everybody knows that I'm a masculine person. I'm not a simp whatsoever. I just look objectively. So I wanted to make that clear. Women are hypergamous, but men are conquerors. So weight has to be distributed evenly. And the reason why I say that is because men are conquerors, especially from a young age. We're more settlers the older we get in age. But during the ages of adolescence to probably about 35 to 40, we're trying to conquer, excuse me, ladies, for my language, we're trying to conquer as much pussy as possible. You know what I'm saying? We're vibrant. So literally when a man does settle down in his 20s, he does rob himself of those conquering years because his primal instinct is to conquer as much cooch as he possibly can. Women, however, are hypergamous. We've proven this study over study over study, which means that they want the best qualified person. So basically, if their internal antenna says, I can do better, but they settle for you, if that person that they feel like they can do better with comes around, you have a really high chance of either that woman cheating on you or leaving you for that person because they're hypergamous. They feel like I want the best thing I can possibly get that's going to protect me, that's going to provide for me, and cater to me sexually. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said the weight has to be distributed evenly, because this is why I tell people, man, you might not want to settle down with that brother right now, even though he has great looks, good money. He's in his conquering stage. So the likelihood of him cheating on you is pretty high.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but it's hard for me to agree because I got facts and stats. Let's look at the statistics of divorce. 80% of times divorce is women. And why are they divorcing? Because they're unhappy. Let's look at men and actually having kids. Only 20% to 30% of black men actually have kids. So we got to, again, kill these narratives. Like, a lot of times we live a life and we think everyone else is living that life. A lot of these niggas out here is not getting no ass and no sex and no play. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's kill this conquering noise. It's like we try to act like all these men are alpha men. There are very few alpha, very few. You wouldn't be able to pick them out of a crowd. These niggas are simps. They're not getting no pussy. I don't consider you a simp with what you said. I understand your plight. But again, we have to look at the stats. This is why black men always get pushed to the back, because the stats are all for us, but the narrative is never for us. Society never sees our role that we play as far as black men in the house, black men in marriages, and in relationships. Women of today are that way. Women back in the day was not like this. Again, the divorce rate was not this high. It's this high because it's been programmed in them that they can go get better. That's why they're dating outside their race now, because they think that's better. Because why? They have more money and opportunities, because they have more property. But that's perspective. That may be better to you. That doesn't mean that's better to me. You know what I mean? So that whole logic is flawed. We're justifying them living in ignorance. That makes zero sense to me when it comes to actually building a family and building wealth. That's why we don't have any.
Well, you can't have it both ways, Tim. And the reason why I say this is because if we're going to deal with truth, we're going to deal with truth. We both agree that women are hypergamous. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we both agree that women are hypergamous, and the true definition is I want the best that I can get, the best that I know that I can get. So therefore, after a while, that woman. Okay, so I'm not trying to manipulate.
No, I'm going because I have a rebuttal. I'm going to explain to you where I'm going with this. Go ahead.
Okay. So we know about that biological clock that ticks in women.
Correct.
After, because for social standards, it's socially acceptable for at least women above 30 to be married. If they reach closer to their 40s, then they're going to be looked at as damaged goods. That means that nobody wants you. And women that are on this check-in right now, you could deny this. This is proof.
No, this is facts.
This is facts. A woman between the ages of 30 and 40, if you are not married by the time you reach 40, you are considered damaged goods. This is why we call the age of 40 the wall. This is why, because 9 times we're not saying that you can't. We're not saying that you can't get married after 40. We're saying that the closer that you get to 40, if you are not married and you want to be married, the likelihood of that is slim to none. So therefore, once that happens, bringing this home, Tim, I hate to be long-winded.
No, go ahead.
So therefore, if women are internally hypergamous and they want the best they can get, do you not think around 35 or 36 they're starting to settle at this point? And the reason being is because you do squander, as Kevin Samuels would say. I know y'all going.
Oh, I'm bringing him up.
The time you should choose is in your 20s. The time that you should choose who the best person for you is in your 20s. Why? Because it becomes harder after 30 to become married. I'm done with
Correct. But let's call a spade, because again, this is how we get disconnected in society. We'll look at a picture, but we only look at half the picture. We got to look at both sides of the picture. So Kevin Samuels was the perfect person to bring up in this conversation because he explained why all of this is happening. So the reason this is happening, I'm not denying that you're saying women want the best. No one's disputing that. We're saying, what is your best based on your worth? See, that's a new conversation. Half these women ain't doing what Big Mama did. How many Big Mamas actually had marriages and actually had a man who was worth something? Most of them had to settle for somebody because they were the person who was either the breadwinner, they owned the home, they raised the kids, they went to work, they cleaned the house, they cooked the food, they did everything. How many of these new modern women even do a fraction of that? So how can the best version of your man be a six-figure earner while you're working at Wendy's? And you're trying to tell me these women are delusional. And that's not a mental illness. That's my problem. So I'm not denying that they want best, but do you deserve the best? What is your best based on what you're willing to give? And if all you got to give is some ass, then why do you deserve a good man who's going to take care of your kids, pay the bills, take you on vacations, deal with your mental health, deal with your attitudes and your trauma? Like, huh? Women do less now but expect more. And men are still just giving it to them. Why? Because they need women. That's the problem. We haven't found how to live with ourselves and be alone. So men are just going along with these contracts and none of it benefits us. And then we get to the end and we complain about how it went, but we allowed it this whole time.
Well, Tim, that goes back to saying who you gonna hate, the player or the game. I mean, let me explain what I mean by that. If women are winning at this game, men, this is why we
You think women are winning right now?
Let me explain why I'm saying this. They're winning at the game. Why? Because men are not walking away from bad behavior. They're not checking bad behavior. Because why? Once somebody gives you their representative, up until the point, women are giving that representative up until the point that they do get the ring. So by the time that they do get the ring, everything dissipates at that point. Once they become married, so now what happens in the mind of the man? I'm scared to leave her now. Why? Because she's going to take half my money. She's going to take my kids away from me. Blah 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 blah. So now and guess what? What happens is now it's been proven that women are marrying to level up in that degree. So therefore, they said, as you said before, Tim, I could divorce this man now. I can take half his money,
yeah,
take his kids from him, and I can let him fuck up. Because while I'm taking half his money, I can chase the career that I want. I can have the career that I want. I can travel all over the country, meanwhile making my own money and taking his money as well. So men have to start protecting themselves. This is why I'm saying prenup is not for the rich. Prenup, right. Everyone.
But they've been doing that. That mentality is why I say women are losing, because they look at it the same way. So in the now, it seems like you're winning, but it goes against your points you just proved. Because if you get married in your 20s and divorced by 30, now you're about to be used goods in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. How is that a win? You lost. You just put your situation now where you're behind the 8 ball because you just married some man for a couple years for even, let's say, $200,000. You're going to spend all that money in at least 3 to 4 or 5 years, especially if you're not bringing no money in. You're losing. Women are losing right now. Women right now are stuck with 3, 4, 5 kids and don't have nobody to marry them. That's why Kevin Samuels had all these content and videos. I'm not making this stuff up. Like, we can go on the internet and look. They're not winning right now. Men are starting to know their worth, and men have already been preparing for this. Let's look around the world now. You got professional soccer players, professional basketball players putting all their assets in their mother's name or in a sibling's name. So when the wife goes to divorce them now the man is getting paid because it looks like the wife has more money. Where are women winning at? Women are losing right now. And that's why there's an outrage about it, because we have to go check on the woman. See, when men were losing, no one cared. The game was fair. Now that men are fighting back and they know their worth, and now men want multiple women or no commitment, women are losing. You have a lot of women who are in relationships with no title and no security. They're with the man that if he just leaves, you ain't getting no money or nothing financial or nothing resource-wise. That's not a good place to be in. Men age like wine. We can still get younger girls at older age. Again, this is why it's an outrage now.
No, Tim, this is why I say women aren't losing. Because they're not losing in the courtrooms. This is why I'm saying women aren't losing. They don't mind having 2, 3, 4 kids because
they do, bro.
What?
They're not raising their kids. The kids are either in the system, the kids are getting kidnapped or with grandma. The kids are at home by themselves. How can you can't tell me someone's happy with their life and they're running away from it. You don't like your life.
Well, what I'm saying is through the social construct, I would agree with you, because even through scientific study, children have a better outcome in rearing when they are raised by both biological.
Correct.
So they are doing it. If you are not with the biological father, you are doing your children a disservice. You know, that aspect, I would say yes. But monetarily, no, man. I hate to disagree. That they're beating men at the bank every single time in the judicial era of that. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to divorce, men are splitting half their money because why? As what we're seeing in these reels is that women are getting men to do the traditional thing, which is In order, so they flip the game. Even though men are knowing their worth, women are saying, okay, go ahead and be the alpha. That means no 50-50 relationships. Which means you pay all the bills, you take care of everything. Now I can go out here in the street and act like I want to. I can talk back to you. I can do all these things. But you want to be the alpha, right? Pay all the bills. So they even flip that part of the game on us as well. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't see how women are losing in that aspect.
I'm not disagreeing that that doesn't exist, but we're talking about majorities and minorities. What you just described is not the majority. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, this day and age, most people are going 50-50. Like that's not realistic. You don't have a lot of dynamics of people who aren't married to where they cover the whole bills. It happens, but that's not the average. That's what I mean. Most of these women are having their own shit now because of government assistance. They don't need somebody to pay all their bills. Their rent is $17 a month. Like, what are we talking about? Like, we live in a whole different era. That's what I'm saying. Men are winning, but the problem is the family's not winning. So we're all losing. There's no sense of a win from any side in this. That's what I'm talking about. Because again, let's look at the children. We're talking about families and communities.
Right.
Most children in prison come from single mother homes. How can you call that a win? What's more important than that? You can't tell me money's more important than that. In court, it's not even a game. The game's already rigged against us. So why would I even try to win in court? They already want me to lose. The judge is already in her favor. Ohio, the judge will tell you we are pro-mom. They've told me every time I went to court, like just before we get started, you know we're pro-mom, right? So why would I be trying to win in court? Why am I trying to have more money than them? I have peace. I have my health. I have healthy friendships and relationships. I have bonds. I have the bro code. Men actually have friends. We actually have networks. We actually have communication. We share good energy. We know how to cut each other off. We know how to level each other up. That's what I'm talking about. That's winning to me.
And this is what I'm saying is that, you know, in that aspect, when you get that mentality to say, what is my actual benefit of marrying this person?
Yeah.
As a man, is she going to provide me peace? If I am leading, is she going to follow? Is she going to follow correctly? You know what I'm saying? Are we going to be able to come together and have conversations? Is she going to abandon that single mentality of I gotta twerk and go out every weekend, this, that, and the other, or are we going to focus on the family to make sure that these kids get to college over going out or on the weekend, or mom got to have a life too? This is the things that men need to start, you know, taking under evaluation when they're choosing their wives. But what happens is that they either one take the representative. The representative is I'm going to do what it takes to get up to that altar, and then I'm going to switch it up once I'm married, or they'll cycle program the person to say this is acceptable. You're trying to control me. You're trying to do this, that, and the other, this, the other. And the man, as Eddie Murphy says, once he hears all that shit, okay, you can go out. You can do. So
And that's my connection. That's my connection to the beginning. You know, this is why I don't want to make simp a derogatory term. It's definitely a put down. It ain't nothing good. But it's not derogatory because as men, we all simp out. But the problem is we're not being honest about these things. And let's be honest about marriage. Just how we were about being a stepfather. There is no benefit for a man in marriage. I don't care what anyone says. There's no benefit. I would love to see the benefit. We pretend there's all these benefits because we want there to be an even playing field. We're always trying to balance things because the goodness in our heart. But there is no benefit for us in marriage. So at the end of the day, as a man, we prepare for what we want in the beginning. If I'm really getting serious about a woman, I'm going to start moving with her like we're already married. I'm going to start becoming a good husband before we've ever went to the altar, talked about rings, met a reverend, any of that. Because I want you to understand you are my wife. This ring ain't going to prove it. The wedding is for everybody else. The marriage is for us, and the marriage is the relationship. And I don't think enough times we have the same idea and intentions about what a marriage is. I think for some people it's material, for some people it's spiritual, for some people it's physical, for some people it's what other people think. For me, it's what we know. Only we truly know our union and our bond. So once we have that bond, you're good with me. You know what I mean? I'm doing the ring and the wedding for the woman. Women like that kind of shit. So as a man, I want to give that to you. That's simping out. But I'm being a good husband. When you get married, you simp out for your fucking wife. My issue is you simping for a girl you just met, and now you paying her rent because you think she cute. That's the wrong kind of simping. But if you want to let your wife walk all over you because you know you're going to be here and she shows you she's going to be here, what's the problem? That was my issue with the Chance the Rapper situation. We don't know their dynamic. We always try to take how we feel and put it on other people's relationships. Oh, I wouldn't like this in a marriage. They shouldn't be doing that. Like, we don't know their dynamic. Like, they could be perfectly happy with what they're doing. So we have to start opening our minds to that reality.
Well, this is what I say. Let me get to the people because I don't want we got a lot of people want to check in today.
Oh shit, what up, everybody?
I don't want to disrespect anybody. I thank you guys for tapping in. Adriana, Trinae, of course.
Let me turn my shit down.
Check in as well. Trinae said, Tim, what kind of women are you speaking of? Grandma don't watch the kids no more, and grandmas are outside now.
Yeah, they do. Because now people just adopted new grandmas. Even back in the day, Big Mama wasn't all her grandkids. She just raised them. They knew her as grandmother because she was that figure. But the same thing's happening. Again, let's look at statistics of how many kids are getting left at home. How many kids can't tell you the last time their parents was at home. Like, it's happening, but we're able to cover it up with so many other things. We're able to justify it with so many other things. Now we can just DoorDash some stuff and Uber them. So it's really hard to tell if a parent's even with their kid or not all day. Social media is not real, so we see them post a picture on their birthday and we think they have a good relationship. But again, these kids are growing up damaged. More and more kids are going into the system.
So let's say this, Tim.
Yeah.
Children are losing, not the women. Because even with the absence, and I've seen this over and over again, I'm going to agree with both you and Trinae. Because at the same time, grandmas are not watching the kids. Women are still winning because they form their own tribal thing without the man. So they'll have 2 or 3 girlfriends. Let's say this girlfriend got 2 or 3 kids over here. This girlfriend or cousin over here got 2 or 3 kids over here. They'll watch each other's kids. So the other one can go out or do their thing and this, that, and the other. So they're getting the best of both worlds. Somebody is caring for these kids in the way that mom would care for them. So they've got everything planned out with the absence of a man. So we always say, well, you know what I'm saying, without the man. Yeah, they're missing that masculinity. But as far as women, that's what I said. Women ain't losing because ain't shit stopping. Without that man, ain't shit stopping on there.
If the kid's losing, you're losing. How can you be winning and your kid ain't winning? That's not a parent. You're a friend then.
But I get what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that with the absence of that man, he's still paying half. He's still paying child support. We still contributing to the Cancun trips and the Miami trips. We still contributing to, the kids' clothing and stuff like that. Well, mom gets to save her money and kick it.
But she's not saving her money. You also got to realize black women are the most educated in the country, but they're also the least paid. They're the least paid in the country. So what money? What money we talk about? They also get the big lump sums at the beginning of the year and spend it throughout the year. What money we talk about again?
What black woman that don't know how to get it and not hustle?
It's not about getting money. It's keeping money. Again, this is why we don't understand wealth. We give away all of our assets and resources. Women give away all the things that make them women and special and beautiful, and then want a man to accept them for who they are. We give away our resources to black people, and they want people to shop with us and support us. Like, when are we going to start keeping some of these things? But we can't keep it under a single bachelor mentality. Families build wealth. We do not build wealth by being single. So this whole independent movement is the worst thing that could have happened to black families.
So correction, in their mind, you're on the whole grand scheme of things, no, women are not winning. But in their mind, they don't feel like they're losing, is what I'm saying.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. You can't call a spade a spade. This is why I say you got to know your person or no. You got to know if you're dating a delusional person or not. Because they need a therapist. They need a doctor. They don't need a relationship. They don't need sex. They don't need to go to the mall. They need to sit down with somebody and unpack these things, because now this is trickling to the kids. And then guess whose kids that's going to trickle to? And then guess whose kids that's going to trickle to? So how are we winning? We're still losing. We're still making the same mistakes that generations made before us, and we acting like we don't know any better, and we just having fun. Like, that's a problem.
Well, that's what I meant to say is that, when men walk out of women's lives, that's one of the primary things that they will say, like, you ain't stopping shit. And
that's rare that we do, because, again, they leave us more than we leave them. Let's look at the stats. I don't like to argue opinions. I go off of numbers. These things we can actually look up on the internet and see how often it's happening. What information will we be using other than that?
But this is why I'm saying the kids are losing. I would say the kids are losing because, like you said, if that woman feels you not stopping shit, you know what I'm saying, by you leaving, if she not drowning, she feel like she's swimming. So I mean,
But that it's the mentality. It's not as far as what you take out of the situation. It's your mentality towards it. That's a damaging mentality. I don't leave somebody to spite them or to prove them a lesson. I leave because I wasn't being appreciated. I leave because I was being taken for granted. I leave because we were on a treadmill, like we were moving, but we weren't getting no motion. We weren't going anywhere. That's why I left. I didn't leave to spite you. I didn't leave to hurt your feelings. So why is this a tit for tat or it's not about vengeance?
Well, it's all about, and this is why I say this is a very dangerous thing, is because you leave because you're unhappy. I like that better. I will agree with you to say, I agree because I'm not being represented well. I'm not being appreciated. Now let's go to your point. Let me say this. You work for Burger King, right?
Yeah.
Now, be completely honest. Now, if you're a high-ranking employee at Burger King and y'all have a convention, would you go to a Burger King convention with a McDonald's shirt on?
No, absolutely not.
You would not. Okay, great.
Loyalty is everything.
So that's because why? You're misrepresenting the company that you work.
Absolutely.
Okay, so why is it that men are giving Chance the Rapper a pass for bumping his private part up against this woman's butt? Because basically that's not his wife. They're not in the hut together. So they're taking a sexual gyration toward a woman that does not belong to you. Meanwhile, you represent your wife at home. So
right.
Go to a Burger King convention with a McDonald's shirt on. Basically, he don't work for her. He don't work for that company.
Right.
There's no commitment or covenant to protect or provide for this woman that he's pumping his dick. His up against her buttocks. So therefore, this is the pass that men are trying to say, oh, we can't have fun. Hell no, because if a video comes down my timeline and a man is pumping my wife in the club, best believe I'm going downtown to get those divorce papers because you have misrepresented me at this point.
Would your wife be at Carnival with little to no clothes on though?
What happened?
Would your wife be at the Carnival with little? You know, this is what happens at these type of events. So would your wife be there with no clothes on to even allow that to happen?
But
so maybe if your wife was there with those type of clothes on, y'all have the type of relationship that she's able to do that. See, the problem is we take this Christian approach to relationships and marriage. We think every marriage is the same, and it's not.
Question though. Let me ask you a question pertaining to me. I'm a true traditionalist, and it can cause problems. Me being a true traditionalist, I don't fuck with girls' trips. I don't fuck with none of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's new age stuff. That's new era.
I like the compromise that we have to say that I will wear this stuff with you, but when I'm with you, I like that compromise that we have. But I don't fuck with shit like that. Like you go up to Cancun or Miami and shit like that, dress half. I'm a true traditionalist because I know what's waiting at the club when you're going to the club half dressed. I know what's going to happen if you're walking on the beach with your girls and I'm not there. That, you know what I'm saying? And it's not about trust. This is why so many marriages are failing because it's about representation.
Yes, 100%.
When you go to Miami with that bikini on, it ain't about having fun. You are at a Burger King convention with a McDonald's that says that basically, yeah, you got a ring on your finger that says you're married, but that bikini says I'm single. You know what I'm saying? Because
let's prove my point. Not one person based on that picture asked if that woman was married or how her husband felt. Not one person. Not nobody. Everybody looked at Chance because he's known. He's a black man. He got money. So, let's ridicule him. Let's put these unrealistic expectations on this man I don't even know. I can't even tell you his middle name. But let me tell you how his marriage should function. Does that sound like that makes sense?
Horns are showing, buddy. Yeah.
Does that sound like that makes sense?
Over this horns is showing, buddy. No. That man is a married man. You know what I'm saying? And this is the problem that we have. Can he have fun? Yeah, because guess what? Had it been like him and his boys around and they were dancing, yeah, wife could have been like, man, he's so crazy. He with Tommy, whoever his circle of people are, and they done went live, and she knows where they're at, and the girls are dancing in the middle somewhere, and they're on looking or watching. But no, he took it a step further and says, nah, put your butt on my pelvic area and let me pump that. Oh, that's a violation.
That happens every day, Lane. Women are taking their man to the strip club and watching them get raped in the strip club. That happens every day.
So was the wife there?
No, she wasn't there. She didn't. She hasn't even spoke on it. She made one post. She made a post, and everybody tried to connect the post to what he had on the beach. She has not spoke on it. She hasn't said anything, but people are running to their own idea because they want to be right. This has nothing to do with the constructs of marriage. Half these people out here are cheaters. Let's stop acting like marriage is a sacred thing to everybody. Again, look at how we treat it. So let's not try to make one person live a holy, divine marriage and all of us just get to do whatever with our marriage. Like, no, if there's going to be a standard, there's got to be a standard for everybody. Half the standard society set they can't live up to. Like, I call cap.
Right. But in this particular photo, you have now allowed the public into our home. It would have been best that he just had not had done it, because whether it's right or wrong, whatever they accept or whatever they don't accept, that's their business. Because you are a public figure, you have breached our social contract that says now you have put our marriage under scrutiny. You have now put our marriage under scrutiny that says that you let your good be evil spoken of. Even if I allow it, man, are you not aware of all these cameras that are around? This is why I hate to say it, but when there's cameras around, I tell my girl, like, yo, you know, because this is the person that I'm going to marry. So want me to be running, let's say I'm running for mayor 10 years from now. I don't know what my future is going to hold, but during the campaign, they be like, look what kind of wife he has. Now, I'm supposedly not to care about, you know, people and things of that nature, but I know that with social contracts, that could come back to bite me. So therefore, somebody's going to look at me and be like, well, Lane, your girl can't have a good time. Dang, Lane, your girl can't have fun. I don't know where God is taking me. So therefore, whatever representation that I have, I want to be a man of respect. And I want to know that, you know what I'm saying, I'm respected by my wife. So therefore, a lot of times, as a traditionalist person, I could be looked at as, oh, you're too hard on this person, or you're this, that, and the other. No, I know where God is taking me. So when you understand the assignment and you know your purpose, you choose your woman correctly. And this is why I'm saying, fellas, this is why it takes you seeing the person that you're dating all 4 seasons. I don't care if you're living together. I don't care what you promised this woman. I don't care what she promised you. Before you say I do, make sure that you have taken into account all of the things that you've seen in those seasons. How many times she lied. How many times she didn't adhere to a commitment that she adhered to. How many times, you know what I'm saying, you've asked her to do something and she didn't have your back and you had her back. This, that, and the other. Before you say I do, I don't care if you live together for 5 years. It all changes once you say I do. So you better be sure and not, she's going to be better. She's going to be better once we get married. No, she's going to be worse.
Yeah, I think this becomes, I think too many things are blown out of proportion. I think marriages are a long commitment. I think most people's adult relationship, that's going to be the longest you've spent with somebody, dwelling, living, learning somebody. So I feel like your logic is the contradiction in what you're saying. Because I agree, we don't know where God's sending us or where we're going next. So why would I worry? In 2 years, our marriage could be better than ever. Would I care 2 years ago about the beach pictures? In 2 years, she could have leukemia. Am I going to care about the beach pictures 2 years ago? Like, we don't give ourselves grace and look at the whole span of our relationship. If I say I'm going to be with you forever, that's forever. I'm not getting tripped up over every little thing that happens in the road. And I'm not worrying about what's going to happen next. I have faith. That's also representation. So we have a bunch of believers. We have a bunch of people with no faith. They have religion, but they have no faith. They have no faith in themselves, no faith in a relationship, no faith this job is going to get them out of their situation, no faith their house is going to hold in when it rains, no faith there'll be food in the fridge next week. We have zero faith. What are we going off of? Delusion. That's what we live on these days. Delusion. I want it bad enough, so it's going to happen. And we're not even prepared for these things. I'm prepared to love somebody. I'm not prepared to fault somebody at every single flaw and everything they do as a human being.
But here's the thing. It's the difference between being a public person and nobody knows who the hell you are. So let me give you a prime example. because you got my girl agreeing with you. But here's the point I'm making. In a situation, I would much rather have LeBron James' wife than Stephen Curry's wife.
I can see somebody saying that.
I would rather have LeBron's wife than Curry's wife, who's a misrepresentation of their marriage, who doesn't care that she brings shame on her house and her household on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where we're giving passes for bad behavior. We're giving passes in the name of, oh, I'm just human and I want to have fun. Nah, you are in a relationship with me. I am LeBron freaking James. I am Stephen Curry. I, I am in the public eye. So what you reflects on me. You know what I'm saying? And this is what we don't have enough of is representation. Everybody goes, oh, I'm gonna be bored and I'm gonna do this and that and the other. This is your freaking husband. Represent him as such, or see the man see this stuff happening before and stop giving it a pass and be like, you know what, this was cool, but I see where this is going and I know where I'm going. This is why vision and purpose is so key, because when you know where you're going and you look at that woman and how she's behaving, you be like, you know what, we've been together for a while, but you're not my type of girl. Single edition. I'm sorry, you're not my kind of girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But men don't do that. We feel guilty and we fall into the guilt trap of, oh, we've been together for so long, or you wasted my time. Nobody gave a damn when Lori Harvey wasted Michael B. Jordan's time.
Exactly. It's actually celebrated. It's entertainment.
Exactly. So in that scenario, and I'm gonna end it.
Because I'm half with you. I got a rebuttal. I'm half with you in what you're saying.
I would rather have LeBron James' wife who understands the assignment and says, anything that I do outside of this household, I'm a representation of my husband.
Yeah.
Aisha Curry, you know what I'm saying, wanting to dress half naked all over the world. And like, I wish all the guys were paying attention to me. No, I don't need a woman like that.
See, in that aspect, I 100% agree. Where I'm only half with you is as far as who got the pass. Our generation did not get the pass. Aisha's not the problem. Again, look at their relationship. Look at their household. Steph married his mom. Our problem is our parents' generation gets the pass. It has my whole life. They excuse everything they do to us, and we just got to grow up and get over and accept it. Steph Curry's marriage is going exactly how his father's marriage went with his mom. He married his mom. So again, that's what they push us into. Mom and dad need to be together, stay together for the kids, have the money, have the resources, and your kid's going to turn out great. Your kid's going to turn out like you. So that doesn't mean that you're doing the right thing. That doesn't mean you're helping them. Let's look at LeBron. He never grew up with a relationship. He never grew up with his father in the home. He married a woman who's opposite of his mother. See, he did it right. He got to know someone outside of what he already knew. And a lot of us are just going along with what we see going. We think it's the right thing, but we're living in delusion. So yeah, I'm half with you. I see the point you made, but I look at that differently. Like, and I wouldn't want a relationship like Aisha. But again, Curry and Aisha been together since college, since they were kids. So again, I don't believe in that. I believe in getting to know yourself and living with yourself and then getting into that long-term commitment.
But people don't realize this. When you have a chi as a man, you have a chi, you have that energy, that champion energy. And look at the stats. Look at how dominant, Curry was. And look at the outside of what she has taken this man through mentally. He's not there on the court.
Right.
He's not representing. And we know that this man can shoot your lights out. But because she has brought this man's mental and his chi down, he's not the dominant person that he used to be. Now look at LeBron James' wife. Look at how she understands the assignment that when I send my man out, listen, I'm not going to create problems for him. I'm not going to, because we have, not only is he a champion, he's getting his money, but we have children to raise. Now look at LeBron James. No matter what, you know what I'm saying? This man is, because of the woman he chose.
Yeah. And both of their relationships it's funny you say that, but I even look at them differently energy-wise. LeBron's wife gives me more of like motherly vibes. Like, you know what I mean? And his role he plays is he seems like a good listener. Like he's in tune. Like she'll tell him like, yo, that ain't it. And he like, all right, cool, bet. You know what I mean?
Right.
Steph and Aisha seem more like high school sweethearts. They
But,
seem like summer lovers.
she may correct him, but guess where she's going to correct him at home.
Yeah.
What Mrs. James is going to correct him at home. And
Yeah.
babe,
And the only time you see her in the media is at the games or at the kids' games or
thank you.
at parent events or at, youth events or at Help Stop the Violence events. They was cleaning up Cleveland. Like, every time you see her is pushing forward. So 100% I agree. But I think she represents the last generation. Unfortunately, Aisha is the representation of this generation. Not all of them, but majority. And it's not that they can't change, but they've been programmed into this happy wife, happy life shit. And both people aren't covering each other. And I don't agree with none of that. I think that's why all these men are drained.
So it goes back to your original point that the majority of the men are not taking their worth and saying, you know what, it's been fun, but I have to run. Listen, you're not the person that I need you to be. And not to say that who you are is a bad person. You're just not the person that I need for this journey that I'm on. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But what you have is a lot of men being guilted for the time that this woman has invested. You have a lot of men being shamed because, oh my God, you've taken my best years. No, you tried to manipulate the situation and you thought I was going. No, this is the type of person I need, which goes back to your original point. Everybody needs to be honest. Everybody needs to say, hey, this is where I'm going. Can you fit this bill? This is why you shouldn't settle for good enough. Because you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, yes, he is able to make a mistake. Let's go back to your point. Chance is able to make a mistake and says, you know what, baby, I got caught up.
He could have been drunk. We don't know what was happening.
But at that point, at that particular point, it wouldn't have been in the name of fun. I personally, if I'm in the hut with my wife, I would have made a public apology and be like, you know what, that was a misrepresentation of my wife. That shit will never happen again, and move on. Not that she even pressured him to, but I take marriage so seriously, man. And this is why, I gotta be sure. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be sure when I do this, you know what I'm saying, no matter what it looks like, I have to be sure that this is what, and she does too. She absolutely does too. This is why we always say 4 seasons. See him in all seasons, broke, rich. You know what I'm saying? Because the one thing I think that my significant other hasn't seen me is at my thriving level. I was once there. But once he sees me at my thriving level and sees the faithful person that I am and the champion that I truly am, I think then she will be sold to be like, oh, he's 100. He's 100 because he got it all lined up. And he's still bringing the money home to me. He still understands that home is where this is. I want her to see me at that level because she see me do this. You know what I'm saying? Which, when I'm doing this, you can see all kinds of disgruntledness and disappointments and insecurities and stuff like that because I'm doing this. So she see me at my worst. Before we get married, I want her to see me thrive because that's going to be the selling point for her. Like, oh, you mean this man got it all? He still ain't cheating? This man got everything. He got all the access and the resources to do this, that, and the other. That's what I want to see. And because it's always said, a woman's faithfulness is tested when a man has nothing. A man's faithfulness is determined, or who he is as a person is determined when he has everything. Mm-hmm. I just want her to be able to see me when I have everything. Now, I think that'll be the selling point.
Yeah. And I think that is the purpose of the journey. You know what I mean? But a lot of these things are like, it's our psychological makeup. Even when I speak on women and divorce rate, it's not to shame them or put them down. It's we're all starting to know our personnel. Men do not leave situations when they are happy. A man will become the lowest version of himself that he can maintain his peace and still be here for you or do whatever he agreed to do. That's the issue of why relationships and marriages are going this way. When you were coming up, you had to see a reverend, like you had to get your marriage ordained to get married. Nowadays, it's like leasing a car. You just got to sign the paperwork and have a co-signer. Like, you don't have nobody who has to actually check on y'all's relationship, see y'all's mental temperament, if y'all even mature enough for this type of union or dynamic. So nowadays, now that we can just enter in these agreements, nowadays that we can just join these long-term commitments without having to do the upfront work. That's the issue. But it was because someone was forcing us to do the work. Relationships is about what you're choosing to do. You should want to choose to be with this person. For me, the things I appreciate and pour into is the things I'm going to miss about you. That's why the financial shit don't matter to me. The sexual shit don't matter to me. It's the inside jokes. It's the fact that they could put up with your snoring. It's the fact that y'all motherfuckers can have fun anywhere. The things that you really gonna miss when they gone. That's what I look forward to. And that's what I try to nurture in a relationship. And a lot of times, all of us, we're so insecure. We try to become this superhero or this perfect person, or we try to become the love of their life. And we don't realize we potentially already could be that. And we just gotta pour into ourselves. You know what I mean? As men, we're learning now that we do have a choice. For the longest, again, all these things were told to us. A woman chooses the man just has to accept it. We do have a choice, the woman that we want to be with. We don't have to settle for the woman who can best help us raise the kids and make sure we make the most money. What about the woman that makes you laugh? What about the woman that's there when you cry? You know what I mean? Like, as men, yes, we have to start stepping into these things, because we've also got with women for very superficial reasons, because of what an older man told us to do or what we thought was going to make us look cool or be accepted. So now I feel like with this social media era, internet era, we have to learn to be ourselves. Everybody's trying to be everything else, but who are you? What does your marriage mean to you?
I really want to tackle this point because it just I love. Okay, so for everybody in the audience, Tim is my brother, and we've elevated our relationship to the point where even when we disagree, we unpack it. So I want to unpack this women are losing thing. I move past this because I am a true. I love the alpha culture. I love, and I want things to go back to its primal, even though there's a very slim chance that it won't. I want things to go back to its primal, where we truly protected and provide for our women, and spiritually we look to God for our guidance and our purpose. This is our primal, behavior. This is our primal instinct. But I would say, again, I'm going to use your words. You're about 3/4 right that women are losing. They are losing spiritually. But on the whole, I want to say they're not losing entirely because they figured it out. They figured out how to keep going and because before, let me tell you why I'm saying that you're only 1/4% right or 3/4% right. Because when I looked at broken women in the 70s and 80s, they were broken. They were really broken. When that man left the house, they were completely broken. And they held on to men for that financial resource and things of that nature. The millennials and the latter part of the Generation X saw that and they said, oh, hell no. No, this is why during the 90s, you saw all these women of color enrolling in colleges and going to cosmetology school and going to trade schools and learning how to drive trucks and this, that, and the other, because they saw that these women were broken when the man left the house. And women of the 90s into the millennium said, fuck no. We are going to not go down. So if this man skips out on us, we have the backup. We have, something that keeps us going. This is why you've seen the Waiting to Excels. Fast 20 years later to the girls' trips and shit like that. Yeah. Because it was women banding together and saying, listen, even without the man, we are going to form a tribe to survive. So that's just why I'm saying, when you say women are losing, spiritual, yes. But in all other aspects of life, they hitting on all cylinders.
I still disagree. I don't see what's to be won. I don't see what they've gained. And the reason they went into all those jobs is because there was incentives, because the government was telling them you at least had to have some type of job to get on Section 8. None of this was planned. It was a reaction. So yeah, they're winning on living on survival. If that's what you want for our women, sure, they're doing great at that. But how many women are living in abundance, who are single women living in abundance? And again, let's go to these old folks' home. These are experiments I used to do when I was heavy into psychology when I was in school. We go to an old folk home. We go to a hospital. The event's called No Regrets. Walk around and ask these people what they wish they would have done differently in their life. Some of these people are terminally ill. Some of these people are at old age. Most of them will tell you they wish they chased relationships. They went too hard after work. I wish I would have asked the girl out. I wish I would have asked him to marry me. I got too caught up in my own personal success and got to the end of it, and now I can't even tell you who I am. All of this is about the family. So the further we move away from the family, it's a loss. There's no win in that. And it's because the family brings the resources. Again, let's try to see why women are trying to be so independent, to replace the man. You can't build off of something that you did not create. You can't get healthy off of spite. I'm not going to start eating healthy because this person stopped cooking for me. You have to want to do this. The genesis has to be your idea. All of this is a reaction. We're just trying to prove to the men we don't need them, which is cap. That's cap. They need us just like we need them. The difference is they now have another resource. See, back in the day, they had to depend on us. They only knew the black man. Now there's the government. Now there's all these assistances and programs. And I love when women are online like, well, men can get these. No, they can't. Most of these programs only go to women and single mothers at that with no man in the home. That's how Section 8 started. Yeah, you can have this apartment, sweetheart, but no man can be in the home. So how did women win that game? They was sneaking us in the house anyways. That's a win. But the problem is they're still losing. You're still in bed with the government. When you have an issue with that man now, you got to run the child support. When you need this man tamed, you got to call the police. And the police could come in here and kill you and him. So how is this a win? When you need someone to watch your kids and you push this man out the house, you got to send them to whichever daycare. You got to send them to the government. You got to leave them at home by themselves. So it seems like a win if you only look at your corner of the picture. But if you look at the whole picture, if everybody's suffering, how could you be in your head as a person, be in your head like, yeah, I'm winning? That's delusion.
I explain that, Tim. And I want to address. I want to read Baby's comment real quick. She said, "I'm already sold before you start thriving." I appreciate you, Mama. And the test is once you start thriving, will you remember who you are? And my character, of course, over the past 40 years, I will be exactly who I am. I don't change. Money's never changed. I don't brag about it. My family has been up in the millions. In the millions, and in a thriving banker. Check my Googles. I've been a thriving banker for all banks, and I'm not bragging. I'm just saying.
Talk your shit.
I know where I've been in my life. You know what I'm saying? I just basically. Let me take a break real quick before we get back to the conversation. I did a Franklin Saint, and in 2011, I walked away. So, of course, when you walk away from the matrix, life is going to be harder for you because you unplug. So I don't mind the journey that I've taken. I don't mind that people no longer see me in brand new cars and suits and that nature, because I know I used to be that person. But in 2011, I did unplug from the matrix. And this is why you see me. But people who know me, such as Tim and Trinae and Kevin, they know what I'm capable of. They know my true potential. They know where I'm going. But yes, baby, I will be the same person. Let's get back to Adrian.
And I'm gonna feed on that. This is the ultimate compatibility. This is universal compatibility. I don't vibe with people when they in the cars and flashy. I did that too at one point in time. I don't vibe with that. So I feel like you stepping away with that is how we were able to cultivate this space. That's what I believe in spirituality. We have to stop being who we were to attract the people that we want. You know what I mean? Because we could come off arrogant to somebody who's really cool with us. But when we get into ourselves and we just be, I like you like this. You dig? Like, I don't need to see you in the cars and with them. I like conversations. I like to get to know a person and reading your energy, because I agree with you just off my perception. I think you're going to be this person the rest of your life. I don't think anything going to change you. And that's what we need. You know what I mean? That's what we push. But I think we also have a responsibility to, I don't want to shit on anybody in this world. I just want to be honest. And the way me and you talk and think, majority of men don't think like that. So I love when women even say on certain posts, like, I wish my man thought like this. We're working on it. It's going to be a step in the right direction. But this took men, bro, years to get this. This wasn't no overnight transformations.
And what I'm saying, I think you, Kevin, Adrian, and even my baby might be misinterpreting. I'm not talking about, you had to live through the 80s to know what I'm really talking about. You had to live through the 70s when I saw my cousins, myself, and people with a lot of kids having to share each other's clothes and shoes and going to free lunch. These kids don't know what free lunch is. I mean,
right.
They don't know the true struggle. And these women today, I don't care what it is, they struggling like these women of the 80s and the 70s, the what I've seen, who had kids and who had no resources. When I say winning, I saw in the 90s my mom and all these other come into a power that they never knew, because basically it's like, oh, I don't have to go all the way down when my man leaves. I don't have to go all the way down because the government has basically, cut jobs for all these men, and they either, leave the premises or they find solace in alcohol and drugs. These women did not, of the 90s and of the millennium, said, as you said before, I'll accept a man, but I have a contingency in place. I have a alternate path in place to say that if this man leaves me, I won't look like the struggle from the 70s and the 80s. So what I'm saying winning is that they found a new power to say that my kids don't have to suffer financially. Do you know I'm psychologically fucked up, Kevin, Adrian, and Tim, because I couldn't get fresh. I couldn't get fresh. Mm-hmm. I had to wear hand-me-downs. I had to wear thirst. My psyche could have probably been a little bit better had my grandmother or whoever's supposed to care for me been able to provide for me to where I could at least socially compete. So therefore now, at least these moms are able to do for these kids in a way. At least these moms are able to do for these kids in a way that says, you know what? We don't have to live in the ghetto. We don't have to live in the projects. Mommy's got a good job. Mommy can go to work. It's not the best scenario, but it's better than what I used to see.
I love that you explained it though, because I feel like that kind of just proved my point. Everything you just explained is systematic racism. Everything you just explained is the matrix. It's the programming. Let's look at it like this. I'm running alongside somebody. I start going a little bit ahead than them. In my mind, I'm winning. But let's look at the big picture. We're all in a marathon. So you're in 39th place and I'm in 38th. So I think I'm winning because I got a space ahead of you when there's still 37 people ahead of both of us. So you're stuck inside of a program thinking you're doing better. Why? Because you got a refund check? Because you got a little bit of money in your account that you're going to spend by the end of the year? Because you now know that you have a place to go stay. You now know that I have a kid, I can at least go downtown. I can at least put him on child support. That is a survivalist mentality. The fact that you have to say at least, that is a survivalist mentality. I am going for the best. I don't want at least it's better than it was 10 years ago. I don't want at least I have more than my grandfather had. I want everything that's for. How come every race, every nationality can move here and get everything that they want except us? We still have to settle for at least.
Okay, and I'm playing devil's advocate here because I took law, right? So let's put the men of the 70s and 80s on trial for a second, all right?
Correct.
We put the millennial women and the modern women on trial. Let's put the men of the 70s where the root of the problem is. So when the men did lose these jobs, when the men were forced out of the household, why did they not band together as a tribe to say no? Why didn't they say? Because if we want to go back to our primal, whether you believe in the Bible or not, if we want to go back to our primal level of being, then basically that man was supposed to always be the protector, the warrior of his home. So therefore, when the government or the matrix or whoever came against us in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, why did we band together? What did we do? We let Del Pro, we let J. Edgar Hoover, and we let all these social constructs break the Panthers down. We let them break our and kill our leaders without any sort of recourse. So therefore, in the 80s, what I seen, I'm not telling you what I know, is what I've seen. We turned to pimping. We turned to drug dealing. We turned things to destroy our community versus lift them up. I've seen the dudes with 2 or 3 women juggling them and breaking hearts and the families of their kids and stuff in the 80s. I've seen it. I'm a product of it. So therefore, where were the men of the 70s and 80s when the women were in school? Where were the men then? They were broke down, busted, disgusted, or they were pimping or selling drugs.
They were gone. Again, let's look at the statistics. Majority of women have kids with minority of men. The majority of men do not have children. So now you're talking about 7 women who are being affected by 1 man being taken out of the home. So if you take out majority of the men who are in the home, what other men are left? We're still a minority in this country. Where are all these black people coming from that you're naming? There's 11% of us in Ohio. Where are all these black people? So if you cut 11% to 5%, how could we mobilize with that? And again, these women aren't in the homes trying to mobilize. They're getting in bed with the government in these situations. So why would you go mobilize with a woman who's just going to turn you over to the feds? or who's just going to put you on child support. There's men who are getting put on child support for not their biological children. How?
I'm not.
How?
Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you that saying good men don't get raped. I'm not agreeing with you. But what I'm saying is that the women that I admire, the women like, you know what I'm saying, the women that came up in the 90s, the Yana Von Sons and all that stuff like that, what were they supposed to do? What were they supposed to just fold and say, you know what, my man's left, my man's gone, I'm just going to go down. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going,
Yeah.
what were they supposed to do?
Well, the past can't be changed. That's the thing. We're not talking about how the past could be different. We're talking about where we are now. So that's why I get upset with this survivalist mentality. Because again, let's look at the statistics. In this country, black men are in the home more than any other men culturally. Anybody can pull those numbers up, and it's not even close. White men are at the bottom of that. So why are we marrying interracially? If we think that they're going to be better fathers and provide better homes and income for us, why aren't we asking women, so why are you marrying white men, when it shows statistically they are in the house less than black men, which is apparently our outrage. That's our argument, correct?
It's definitely.
So why don't we hold every man to that standard? How could we only look at black men when we are in the home more than any other men? How does that make any sense?
But guess what? Why are we choosing the women that we're choosing as well? We're making wrong choices. So therefore, like you said, if we vet our women properly, we would have more, mentally healthy homes. We would have thriving communities. But guess what? We're programmed to go get the basketball wives, the trophy wives, the rap video chicks that are able of childbearing and childbirth, but they don't know shit from Shinola when it comes to being the mother of the home. We've lost, like Trinae said, we've lost grandma. Grandma ain't babysitting shit because she's at the club before 11 because she wants to get the free drinks. We're picking these women. We're picking grandma who wants to party now because during the 90s, she done raised 5 or 6 damn kids. So now she got to have a life of her own. We're not raising the women that we had 20, 30 years ago. Them women are gone, bro.
But we're not getting picked because, again, we're not passing the blame where it's put. We're putting a pass on our parents and grandparents. They instilled these lessons in us. The woman picks you, happy wife, how are we punishing us for what was taught to us by people who everyone around this world says, oh, my parents were great. They left me all this game. And no, they didn't. They traumatized us. And now we're trying to heal from it, and we're getting mad at each other, and we can't heal it because we did not hurt ourselves. This was taught to us.
But how did we, as people of the alpha sphere, me, you, Tim, and whoever else is part of the alpha sphere, we came upon the knowledge and we embraced it. A lot of our kings, or would-be kings, I won't call them kings, a lot of our would-be kings are rejecting this knowledge, and they're still continuing to be programmed by the system that wants you to go get a basketball wife, and the system that wants you to go get a video hoe, the system that still wants you to get somebody that's twerking. I know the reel that I shared was really far-fetched, but the girl was twerking. He's like, what else can you do?
Yeah. Oh, I love that one.
I love that one. Do? So therefore, we'll be satisfied with the girl with the big butt, the small waist, or what have you, and the one that can talk shit to us. But at the end of the day, what else can you do? And are you vetting this woman properly? Can she handle? Well, this is what I'm saying. Can she handle conflict in a civil manner? Cardi B has sold toxicity, and when I put that as a post, do you know how many women tackled that post? I had at least 500 comments that said Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B have promoted toxicity that says I can be toxic to my man and I can still get him and I can still be a wife. No, the fuck you can't.
Why women listening though?
We're all.
Do you see my argument? No, we're not. Most of their fan bases are women. Why are so many women? If you disagree with the message, why are you listening to the message? Why is that not the conversation?
Because you know what? You're gonna be mad at me, Tim. Because I'm going back to what you said. Because it's fun. It's just supposed to be fun.
So how are you saying you winning when you out here having fun at 35?
How is Chance winning? How is Chance winning having fun?
I didn't say he was winning. I said he's having fun. That don't mean he's winning, but he's having fun. Did he look like he was having fun? Can we argue that?
Yeah, but
I
guess
didn't say he was winning. I didn't say I would go do it. I said, look at that hardworking black man who has to be in these rooms every day with these white people whose life is already public. They have people sniffing through their trash. How you gonna have a private life as a celebrity? That's impossible. It's an
but
oxymoron.
Tim, you can't have it both ways now because basically with him having fun, he let the devil in his house, and that's the problem.
And I bet he got publicity and made some money off of that too. You think he complaining about that? You think his wife's upset about that? That she got to swipe that card an extra couple times this month?
Tim, can't have it both ways, Tim. Money.
No, because she never said she had a problem. America tried to make her have a problem. Those are two different things.
I'll go back to what you said. You said they made money, and you just said 20. Money is not the end all be all, right?
Right, and I also said this situation when it ended. I said 2 years, they probably won't even remember the situation. You remember when I said that too?
Yeah.
So how am I speaking against what I say? It's all relevant.
Probably not, Tim, but what I'm saying is that little problem could have caused a divorce.
Yeah.
That little problem, that little bit of fun could have caused her to walk out and what do we always say? Give the same energy. She could have.
If you gonna leave me from getting a dance on the beach, I shouldn't be with you to begin with.
What I'm saying is that she could have easily been an Aisha Curry and said, okay, let me match your energy. Do you think this is okay?
Correct.
And we know that we don't want our wives twerking.
Well, let me ask you a question. That's the most important question. Who do we think knows Chance the Rapper's wife more than Chance the Rapper?
I'm not.
So who do we think would have knew how she would have took it more than him? How would we know more? How?
What I'm saying is that with any household,
it's not any household though. That's your household.
Let me answer the question. In answering that question, I admire Offset and Cardi B's household. I don't know what the fuck goes on in their household. I think it's perfect that they allow each other to have fun. Now, that is, when you talk about a relationship that allows each other to have fun and do what they want to do, there is no greater example than Offset and Cardi B. And their marriage seems to be thriving. I am happy whatever goes on in their household, do you. Mm-hmm. But as I go back to what I said last week, if you are just a petty, toxic motherfucker, we can accept that from you because it looks like you're thriving at that. When you make changes and you do things for the community, we're going to accept that because we accepted the toxicity of you first. Chance the Rapper is a positive rapper who. Come on now.
Let's listen to his lyrics. He talks trash.
I get what you're saying. And him as this wholesome person that is for the advancement of people of color. We don't look at Offset like that. So the fact that Offset is able to just maintain a pulse and to be a present husband, we thank you, Offset, for being a present father. We applaud. This is what I don't like when it goes back to the same mentality that we'll applaud the guy who's been in prison for 20 years, but the man who got his freaking doctorate degree, we don't give him shit. Yeah. We don't give him a. But guess what? The minute that man has a doctorate degree, is in the club spinning ones and throwing this shit like that, we looking at him like, hey, what you doing? Mm-hmm. But the guy that's been in prison for 20 years being in the club throwing bands and shit like that, nothing of it. This is what I'm saying with Chance. Chance the Rapper, if you're listening, you took that road. You took that road of I love my wife and I'm all about family, this, that, and the other. So the minute you had that girl in the buck and you doing this right here like that, we looking at it like, yo, what you doing? Now, we Offset. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? I haven't seen a picture of Offset doing nothing crazy like that.
Right. Even though his wife's a stripper and they go to the strip club together and people smack her ass and throw ones at her. Let's forget that. That's not relevant. Let's forget that. At the end of the day, I've never liked this whole cheating movement. Cheating should not be the biggest cause of breakup. The way people talk to each other is going to break y'all up well before cheating. The fact that y'all talk ill about each other when y'all ain't around is going to break y'all up way before cheating. The fact y'all don't respect each other. Why don't we talk about that? That's my problem. We talk about these fictitious situations that most of us will never be in. I'll never be a Chance the Rapper. Me and my situation will never know what his wife is going through. Because I ain't never going to be on film at the beach. I don't want to be filmed doing anything incriminating. That's just for me, though. I can understand why the next person would. The Bible also says you can't control your neighbor's wife. That's the problem. We have all these opinions on people's lives, and we don't even know ourselves. We couldn't even tell you 1 through 10 what we should be working on. But hey, I can tell you what this person down the street should be working on. Like, it's delusion. None of us have the answers. We're all trying to figure it out. So I don't have to be who I told people I was 10 years ago. I don't have to be who I told people I was a day ago. I don't have to live up to anyone's perception. I am going to be. That's why the jail people got so much rep, because they were considered real, because at least they was being themselves.
Yeah. And I say this, when it comes to going to things, let's just stop going into marriage forever type thing. Let's just change the rules on it. Let's stop going into marriage and saying, you know what, forever, ever, because the statistics are showing that marriage is not forever. But if you are going to marry, legally protect your assets, legally protect your property, legally protect your mind. You know what I'm saying? While you're in it, choose somebody that's going to be mentally healthy for you. Stop getting married because basically they're fulfilling these checklists, but they are not tapping into you. But let's stop going into it, because like Adrian is saying, I don't want to give somebody false expectations or force my expectations on anybody. No, Adrian, I agree with what your comment is saying, but what I'm saying is that we expect more from people who choose the road left than we choose the people who choose the road right. You know what I'm saying? We just expect a little bit more. We expect a little bit more from Chance the Rapper because we look up to him as to say, you know what? You promote a lot of positivity amongst our community. I don't know what your lyrics are truly about, because I can't say I've heard every Chance the Rapper song, but when I look at this man and I seen him tap into spirituality, when I see him tap into being a social justice advocate, when I tap into a lot of the things that he's doing positively, that's not what I want to see from that person.
So I love that you said that, because I think that's where we're stepping into this new age where a lot of people around my age and younger are choosing spirituality over religion. Spirituality has no rules. Spirituality is not about being a good person. It is not even about saving the world or being nice to people. Spirituality is about understanding yourself and understanding what you bring to this world and the things that you want to have around yourself in your cipher. It has nothing to do with anybody else. So there's no type of perception that a spiritual person tries to live up to. You're going to get what you get. And most spiritual people you meet was wild as hell back in the day. They're doing this like Mike Tyson. He does that to suppress the crazy, because the crazy is always going to be there. It became second nature. It became a part of your DNA. So now I do this to not hurt anyone. I don't do this to be a good, upstanding person. I don't do this to be a role model. No one signs up to be a role model. People are just living their lives. But I understand what you're saying. I don't disagree with what you're saying. But there comes another responsibility if we're going to be judging people and telling them how to live. You also can't judge a fish on its ability to fly. You can't have unrealistic expectations. That's what I'm saying. I'm not mad that people have expectations for Chance. I had expectations for Barack. I had expectations for Kanye. You know what I mean? But they were realistic. They were along the lines of who they are. I don't think we have enough data about Chance. I can't just listen to his music and look at his clothes and say, oh, he's a good guy. He ain't going to slap ass on the beach. And I've never met anyone spiritual who don't like to have fun. They have fun. This is not a cult. It's not a religion. There ain't no rules. There ain't nobody up in the clouds watching you. Live your life. You got to struggle. You got to suffer. Life is hard as hell. Enjoy it. But what I'm saying is enjoy what you're doing. What he's doing, that's what I love about Chance. Chance to me really embodies the unbothered. I love that we try to slap it on the Marion. He seems very bothered at times. Chance is unbothered. I've never seen boy razzled, unraveled. I've never seen him get hostile, step out of character. That's what I respect about Chance. So if I can take all of those, and I'm just speaking for a wife, if you can take all of that aspects of him and his flaws, he slaps ass on the beach, I mean, that's a good deal. That's a pretty good deal.
Let's take it in a different direction, because we only got a little bit of time left. We also live in a world that he's a rapper, right?
Right.
And in that case, that is a sexual movement or what have you. You know what I'm saying?
Innuendo, yeah.
Innuendo, as a sexual action. So therefore, why we're talking about the strength of families. We're talking about marriage versus dating, and we're talking about the strength of families. Supposedly, he's doing that, right? Mm-hmm. and he knows the repercussions of a woman suing him or saying something. Rappers face this, excuse me, rappers face this every day where a woman will, you know, she will embellish what really has happened, you know what I'm saying, as far as sexual misconduct.
Yeah.
And then to have pictures and people all around. If we're talking about building families and the strength of families and making things strong, why would you even put yourself in that position? You know what I'm saying?
Because that's the world we live in. If it was a two-way street, I would agree with you. But the fact that it's only a one-sided argument, it's hard for me to agree. Because I make the same argument with mothers like Black China, who has an OnlyFans, and Rob raises the kid full-time so she can go basically be a celebrity or a socialite, which is not a real career. And she sees the kid, I think, once every 2 weeks, and no one has an issue with that. And now she's rebranding, and they're celebrating her. Again, something a man will get dragged through the mud for. So it has to be family on both sides. Why do men have to live up to this standard of being in a good family, but a woman doesn't? That's the problem.
But I was watching that transformation and I was laughing too. And my significant,
She's full of shit. She ain't transformed nothing.
well, what I'm saying is that it was just a conversation. My significant other says a woman doesn't have a right to change. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, she saw nothing wrong. Maybe she did see something wrong with her lifestyle. I'm learning to be more liberal and look at the world for what it is instead of what I want it to be. And I think this is where my enlightenment comes, is that, you know, you can't. I mean, I've watched these specials about strippers and prostitutes, and it does play a psychological thing on you over time. You know what I'm saying? Women weren't made to just prostitute their bodies and stuff
At
like
all, man.
that.
It's sacred.
They were not made to do that, so that we have made this acceptable, but still it's psychologically damaging. I've seen it happen to K. Michelle. I've seen
Summer
it
Walker. We can go down the list.
seen it happen to Black China, but there comes an awakening that they can wake up and say, I can't do this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, let's go back to what I was saying earlier, my point earlier. In your 20s, yes, I'm talking to the ladies in their 20s. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, but it becomes psychologically damaging. So by the time you do get to your 30s, you may still look good, but you're psychologically damaged because you don't let all these men swap their energy with you. You don't went through your whole phase. So you may think you look good on the outside, but you are damaged. So for a person who is choosing a wife, which we hope that men are, as we are waking up, we are vetting our women. You know what I'm saying? Your past does catch up with you. Your past does matter because it plays on who you are psychologically now. So you can think that you're accepting a person for who they are now, but their past travels with you. So this is what we're saying. We're not saying don't have fun. We're not saying don't live life or don't do this, that, and the other. Everybody's going to have a past, but what we're saying is if you have some sort of thought process into your decision making, maybe you could come out on the better side of mental health once you start reaching your 30s and 40s. Everybody has it, but we want you to be on the better side of mental health than on the worst side of mental health. Then basically somebody has to deal with your toxicity. Somebody has to deal with your drama. Somebody has to deal with your attitude. Nobody has to deal with shit. You know what I'm saying?
At all.
But men are waking. I think that the problem is that we're not women bashing. Is we're saying as men, we're done with that shit. We don't take it. So therefore, most men are walking away and says, yes, I'll pay for my child support to get away from your toxic ass. I will definitely pay whatever I have to pay for peace. There's no amount. So I think that's the problem that women are having with men, is saying, like, you know what? I ain't got to deal with this shit. I'm out.
Yeah, a lot of the relationships are one-sided. And when you're young and when you're discovering yourself, that doesn't mean be 100% selfish. That still means be mindful. Someone's going to have to try to love you and accept you one day. So what women weren't understanding is men were also being programmed at the time. We were also being talked to by older men. Don't turn that hoe into a housewife. We was also turning on the radio. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Like, we was also being programmed. So yeah, you can go be. See, this is what I mean by spirituality. This is how I view the world with everybody. You can go be whoever you want to be in this world. You can sleep with as much people you want to sleep with. You can talk to as many people as you want to talk to. But you don't get to dictate how I feel about you. You don't get to determine if I want you once I figure out what you've done. So be mindful what you're doing, because I'm not the only man that thinks like this. So be mindful how you step in. See, this is where I live in that balance. I don't believe we should really even dwell on our past when we get in new relationships. But do your past play a factor? 100%. I've lost interest in people when I found out who they've dated and how that relationship went. 100%. I've lost interest when I found out people were sleeping around in their whole face. That's cool. Have fun. But that's not what I'm looking for. And if that's all your mind can focus on, there's that part. This is why I say, men, we do have a choice. We have a choice to walk away in that moment and not just drag our feet and see how it goes, because we do that a lot as men. We'll hang around. If this woman ain't good for you, leave. I agree with women on that. Don't waste her time. Leave. She wants to play, you don't play with her, because you ain't going to love her into loving you. You ain't going to trick her and convince her into being this woman that you see she has the potential to be. She might not want to be that. So we do that as men too. We come and tell them our dreams and just try to push on who we want them to be. And we're telling them, I won't see you as anything else but this. So either it's this or nothing. You know what I mean? When we have to choose to walk away and be alone sometimes too.
But I just want both sides to understand it. And that's the preliminary. When you're in the game, this is the mentality I want both men and women to have. You represent your spouse. Yes, you are individual, and that individuality should have already been accepted or rejected by the time you say I do. By the time you say I do, that means you have accepted what you know and what you don't know and what you're going to learn. But what you do know is what is the basis on you saying I do. So what I would like is, I think the divorce rate would go down if we understood that we are representations of that other person. And to really go above and beyond and to not let the devil in your house. I'm not saying you got to be a saint. I'm not saying that at all, because I too am a spiritual person. I was a religious person for 36 years. Mm-hmm. I'm no longer a religious person. I'm no longer a Bible thumper. I'm no longer a person that goes to church every Sunday and thinks my soul can be saved. I don't know how I'm going to turn off by saying that, but I'm no longer that. I will never be that guy again. That guy is gone, right? So I'm not saying that you have to be a saint. What I'm saying is that if we want these marriages to last a little bit longer, we're all saying the same. Be mindful of how you step in. Be mindful of how you move it. And honestly, be mindful of the company that you keep. Once you decide that you want to have a meaningful relationship, you cannot take the people that you, because they still have a single mentality. They still have a kick it mentality. They still have, they don't give a fuck about your relationship, because by the time you get returned back to the streets, 9 times in, you'll find out that they was jealous of you. You'll find out 9 times they wish they had what you had by the time you go back to the streets. But we get so hung up on keeping our friends around and keeping this person or that person around, and not saying that this is the person that the universe or God or whoever you say could have sent you to say, I want to elevate you. I want to do, but you can still keep holding on to this lifestyle, this mindset. And you can never elevate when you're holding on to an old mindset. So I want people to understand that as we represent each other, let it be about each other.
And there's not only one way. Like, two things can be true. Most of the things we both speak on the show are two very real perspectives from two different types of mind throughout the world. You know what I mean? Which they both will have success in the world. They'll both have relationships in the world. Those relationships just function differently. So when it even comes to information like marriage, I only talk to the experience. And I'm not talking about married people. I'm talking about people who've been in the game. You know what I mean? And those type of married people give all the same advice. You go listen to the Denzels and all them, they say keep your relationship private. You know what I mean? I don't listen to Steve Harvey. Y'all got that. Y'all can have that. Steve on what? Marriage 6? I'm cool on Steve. But when you get to certain relationships, the Denzels, you know, the Samuel Jacksons, the Viola Davis, they're all saying the same thing, keep it private. So my argument with Chance is, who's going to know if him and her, and I'm not speaking against them, who's going to know if they're going to make it the distance? He could not even want to be married. She could not even want to be married. That's why I tell people still have fun. A lot of people get in these marriages and become this dull ass person, and you ain't even about to be in this marriage for long. Always be who you are, and don't let that marriage get in the way. I like that's how I truly feel. A lot of people should not be married at this point. That's the real issue.
And then let's and then I hate this word, but I'm gonna use it. I hate this word being overused. Let's give marriages grace.
Yeah, yeah,
Because sometimes that woman at the club that's shaking her ass, her husband did piss her off.
yeah,
Sometimes that dude that went out to the strip club, sometimes the wife did take it a little too far. And I got to let off some steam. And like you said, in their relationship, if we had not known who Chance the Rapper is, he could have probably been just letting off steam, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Whatever has been happening at the home, and they came back and worked it out. She probably could have known, not have known. But we know that, like you said, if we're talking about a marathon and not a sprint, man, you're going to go through these hiccups. Let's stop painting this picture that it's always going to be roses when you're 7 years. That's why they call it the 7-year itch, is because at that 7 years, you done had sex every way possible. You done looked at this person in their best, you done looked at this person in their worst, and you might look at your work wife a little bit more harder. You might look at your husband a little bit more harder. You shouldn't have him in the first place. But the 7-year itch, it just means a 7-year patch. We're going through a rough patch. But are we going to fight to go the distance, or are we going to, that's why I love the girls. I call them women. The ladies are Pretty and Petty.
yeah. That's
They
a good show.
red flags. And one thing that I love is that marriages and long-term relationships should always have an assessment. And this is why, going back to what I said 15 minutes ago, let's stop going into these long-term relationships and marriages as a forever thing. Let's really be realistic and say at the 5-year mark, we could go our separate ways, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? When you have your financial picture intact, you already know that if this doesn't work after 5 years, you get the house, I get the retirement money, and we've all worked it out to where we can amicably leave. We don't have to leave in a toxic format. We can actually say at 5 years, if we feel different or we have changed or we have switched, because we realistically went into this marriage saying this won't be forever. This may not be forever unless we choose for it to be. Now you can look at things in the realistic things, and you can approach things amicably and say, well, we've already had this contingency in place. Should we say that this would happen? I think that's a more healthy approach to marriage than this false expectation that you're going to be together forever, and that, she's going to be fair at the time of divorce, or he's going to do you right at the time of divorce. Put that paper into play to where, even if you are not psychologically there when we break up, this is what you said I could have, or this is what you said I could do if this doesn't work. I think that's going to heal a lot of shit.
I do. I do too. And I think as black people, it's one of our biggest lessons. It is communication. Our communication is broken. And this is why I say there has to be love in relationships, because when there's no love and when there's no favor, things get lost in translation. You know what I mean? I deal with this every day on my page. I say something about racism, there's a sprinkle of white people that get upset. I say something about women, there's a few women that get upset. Say something about men, there's a few men that get upset. Like, this is just a message at the end of the day. You're going to receive this message however you receive it. But if you love me, you're going to try to see the good in what I'm saying. So I don't want to knock women by saying they're losing. That's the best position to be in, because now you can win. And men, the cycle's always going to balance out. So men, we got really big heads now. We know our worth. We think we're winning. So moving forward, we're going to be losing. Women going to be winning. It has to keep going back and forth. Iron sharpens iron. We're training each other. But if I can't tell you what's wrong with you, we'll never be able to grow. If I can't say an honest thing without being turned into the villain, you know what I mean? In my relationship, we're never going to grow. Like, sometimes I'm saying, like, baby, we're losing. If you're losing, we're losing. Like, how are we going to win? That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So when we have that clear-cut communication, I think that's healthy.
But individually, and I want my men to stop losing in the courts. And this is what is that, men, I want you to stop being shamed when you no longer want that relationship. Stop being shamed. It's okay to leave. It is okay. That relationship or that woman no longer serves you or appreciates you. It's okay to leave. This is why a lot of men, and the reason why I'm really stressing this out is because I see more men lose their soul and their spirit. I see a lot of broken ass men is because we have programmed them to say, give her everything, do everything, take nothing for yourself, don't take inventory. So when that woman leaves, or like you said, the majority of the women, let's go back to what you said, the majority of the women are asking for a divorce because they are unhappy. And we are taught that no matter how bad she treats us, no matter how much she unappreciates us, stick and stay, stick and stay, stick and stay, and give her everything at the end of it. No, man, that's a perfect way to be broken. That is a perfect. And if she taking a trip to Cancun, you take your ass to Vegas or Hawaii.
You hear what I'm saying?
If she going to Bahamas, you take your ass to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
You better not die. Don't you die because that woman.
Man.
Don't you do that.
Man. And men, I think men needed. I think these new men needed us. I think the one thing our generation is missing on the men's side is OGs. You know what I mean? And the best thing I got from my uncle when I was younger is he used to tell me, like, you're going to have to hold that L, nephew. Like, you just going to have to take that L. It's going to sting. It's going to hurt. But you just got to hold that L and keep it pushing.
There's a lot of broken men out here because they were shamed into doing a lot of stuff that they shouldn't have did, man. They have been lied to. They have been manipulated. And this is what, and like you said, it was the Kevin Samuels and the Book of Deuteronomy that weren't trying to bash the women. They were opening men's eyes and said, look at what's happening to you, black man. Yeah. This is what they're doing to you. Stop letting this happen and stop broken after this does happen.
And that's why I never, nothing's perfect. That's why I never speak on all women. What happened was white men were trying to teach black women to walk all over black men. The reason we don't see that in every relationship, because there's a lot of black women who don't do that. They're with their black man. They support their black man. So nothing's perfect, but it's happening enough that, like you said, people are making memes about it. There's funny videos online. Like, that's an epidemic. That's not just happening to a few people. There's hundreds of thousands of laughs and loves and, oh, this happened to me, and I know my friend, and this ain't random stuff. Like, we're all going through the same thing. You know what I mean? Last night we went to a poetry show, and my homie was talking about traveling the world, and he said the thing is, like, we don't realize we're more the same as each other than different. Like, a lot of us are going through similar problems, but we just have this idea that our problems are either worse or people can't understand. It's like, no, a lot of us are in the same. We're hurting, and we don't want to hurt no more.
But this is why I said men are losing, because while women go through their brokenness, they have the tribe, they have the best friend, they have the mama, they have the woman that's going to lift them up. They'll let them go through their broken phases. Watch Girls Trip. Watch all these movies that are true to life when it comes to women when they go through a trying period. Men cry in the dark. That's a book. Read that book. Men have to cry in the dark. And what I'm saying is more, we need to band together to prevent, and you wonder why it's not a tit for tat. You wonder why men are snapping and really violating and being physically harmful to women, is because at the end of all that, in their mind, you want to know the mentality is like, man, I gave this woman everything. I gave this woman everything I could possibly give. And you mean to tell me she left me because I'm unhappy? Or she liked this guy, so she cheated on me, and she wants to manipulate me and says I was the problem, is why she cheated. Men are waking up, and when they wake up, men get angry when we wake up. We get
rampage. Yeah.
So you wonder why men are killing these women. Men are really harming these women. Is because when they wake up and realize how they've been manipulated, they snap.
But let's talk about, like, let's dissociate like good and bad with words. Tribe is not a good word. Tribe is just a word. So just because you have a tribe don't mean it's a healthy one. Most of these men are in battles with the woman's tribe. That's the issue. When I'm trying to create my own tribe with you, why would I be battling with a tribe that doesn't want what's best for you? They want you to stay who you are to accompany them. Kids grow up and move out the nest. You shouldn't be relying on your old tribe when you're trying to start your own family.
I do not interrupt you, but this is why I have to interrupt you. I'm not saying this is good for any other man, but this is why my personal tribe is men that are in a healthy relationship. My personal tribe are men who are faithful. My tribe is the people that I handpick to tell me when I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? If I'm wrong. So yeah, you're right. If it's all on your expectation of what you want. I am mature enough, and that's what a lot of men are mature enough. I am mature enough not to hold on to my frat that I had in college.
Right.
I'm mature
Same.
not to hold on to the friends that I had on the block because they're not going to give me great information because you don't have a track record to give me great information when I'm having a problem with my spouse or my marriage. That's the difference between men and women. They'll hold on to their single friends, their moms that had
Their
three,
tribe
four.
is people who can help them. Men pick their
I
tribe.
my circle wisely, and I don't seek ill-advised counsel when it comes to dealing with my household.
Thank you. A lot of women do, and I'm not blaming them because that's the only perception they have. But a lot of women's tribe is people who have already been put in place to help them. Men change their tribe. I change them people I'm around sporadically through my life. Most of the women I know either have no friends or have the same friends that they've always had. There's rarely new people in and out. You need new people in and out for new perspective. And your friends have biases against the new things that's pulling you away from their friendships. That's why I don't have those long-lasting friendships. Because when it comes to my career, my family, that comes first. I'm not going to keep doing what I did because it made sense then. If they show me this and it makes sense now, my loyalty is to my new family, and we all are creating our new family. So that's the issue. Every single time I had a kid, I was not arguing with the mom. I was arguing with the grandmother because they're trying to set their boundaries and tell me how to raise my child. That's a problem. So you have to get in the see. This fits into your Burger King, McDonald's T-shirt. Now we at my Burger King convention, and your mom worked for McDonald's. What shirt you putting on? Straight up. I hate ultimatums, so I hate that it even had to come to this. But now it is what it is because a lot of times these women are all only living on promises. Oh, when you had that baby, we're gonna be here. We're gonna be getting them every week and every other weekend. And what did your shorty say? Grandmas ain't being grandmas no more. So now, as a man, I'm trying to be in my kid's life, and you trying to put them in everybody else's life to keep that foundation in case me and you don't work. You still got that foundation built. That's not a healthy tribe. I'm putting people in my tribe who can help my children one day. Brothers who, when I'm no longer here, they can call up Uncle Delayne like, yo, I'm short $20 on my rent. Oh, I'm about to send over 50. That's why I have people like you in my life, because of the long game. I'm not tripping on somebody watching my kids this weekend, especially if it's an unhealthy environment. I'll cancel my plans. So that's the issue. We're just making our tribe anyone. Hell no. People got to live up to that family. That's how I am. A lot of people don't experience my children. If I can't trust you, my kids ain't going to be around you. If I don't like how you talking and what you listen to, if I don't believe in your relationship, how y'all yell at each other and y'all be fighting, I'm cool with all that. You have to align with what I got on to being in my family. And a lot of people who were in my kids' life when they were younger are nowhere to be found. And guess who's still here? That's who still show up.
Listen, my final stance on marriage versus dating is that be a representation to your spouse. Be clear, as Kenyatta said, of the boundaries that you both have, but be clear of the acceptance of who you are as an individual as well. No surprises, full disclosure of who you are, because I don't want anybody to lose themselves in a relationship. I just want the person that they're with to accept once you exercise who you are as an individual. We don't want any hidden or built-in resentment, later. Well, some people walk out because they've tolerated shit for 10 years because that person has shamed them or beat them up like, this is who I am and you should love me for who I am. If it's a problem and that person is not willing to change, it's going to be a problem for the next 10 years. Man, be honest and say, you know what, you're a great person, but I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's going to really give honesty in these relationships, whether you're dating, whether you're in a marriage. Once you decide to cross that threshold and say, we're taking this to another level or step, at that point you are a representation. And then two, look at it as your representation as you're joining Rockefeller Records versus you're going to prison. If you look at it like you're joining a winning team, like the Lakers or the New York, you're going to be happy to sign that contract. But if you look at it like the used car salesman or you're going to prison and you're just accepting anything, marriage is going to become a prison for you. It is a contract, but I want you to sign for the Lakers and not do 20 years in prison. And that's my.
That was beautifully put. I love that. I'm gonna leave on because this was a great ass discussion. I hope y'all were listening. Man, that was great. I'm gonna leave on. Know yourself and know your worth. We got to stop living out of spite. We got to stop learning ourselves to show the other person that, you know, we were worth something and we shouldn't be taken for granted. And we got to stop expecting the gifts and the joy, the love people give to us to translate into anything else other than an experience. We're too certain about how we think life should go, and we have no idea. So I'm going to tap deep into my bag. This is some Tibetan Buddhism I've been learning. So the idea is to stay balanced at all times. There is no good and bad. So if you feel like alcohol is the thing that makes you balance, drink alcohol. But don't mask your balance. So don't just be drinking to hide the depression, because then you're not actually finding your equilibrium. So as we have these relationships, really ask yourself, does this person complete you, level you out? Do they fill you up, or do they drain you? Do they take away? Do you feel depleted? Do you feel uninspired when they're around? We have to pay attention to those things. And then we have to all grow up. Because that doesn't mean that person's a bad person. It just means y'all aren't compatible. And that's okay. Y'all might be good friends. They may be a good co-worker. They may invest in your business down the line. But if we keep leaving these dynamics broken and ugly and burnt down, we're not going to have anything to go back to. And the best thing you said at the beginning is the truth. We are social creatures. We are trying to live this isolated lifestyle, and it goes against the grain of who we are. We did not build this world alone. It took all of us together. So we got to get out of this mentality. I'm trying to do what's best for me. I'm doing what's best for my family. I'm doing what's best for my tribe. I'm doing what's best for all black men. I'm doing what's best for all my people, my household, my children, myself. Everyone has to be included, or no one has to be included. You dig? So find your balance and stop lying to yourself about what's balancing to you. If it's poisoning you, you have to get away from it. You have to get away. And your self-worth is knowing what you're not going to put up with. It's not knowing what to ask for from people and what you need in your life. It's knowing what you no longer will accept. And don't allow anyone to tell you what you have to accept. They full of shit. That's all I got.
I want to Kenyatta. I want to thank Kevin Frazier. I want to thank Adrian Beaudoir. I want to thank Trinae. Who else has been on this check-in? Again, we appreciate the dialogue. A lot of times, I don't want to keep being apologetic because, you know, me and Tim just flow organically. And then
Yeah.
when we really hit these points, it's very hard to get to the comments. So we get to as many as we possibly can. If we did not get to your comment tonight, I'm sorry, this morning, we do extremely apologize for that. But again, we thank you for the dialogue. Again, if you haven't shared this on your page, this was one for the books. This conversation was one for the book. Whether you agree or you did not agree with what me and said, this one was one for the books, and the conversations just continue to get better. I will be at Double Take tonight for the Carousel Experience with Tavon, aka T Dottie. So we will have R&B there. We're still trying to get Tim there to do some poetry for us. You know, we're gonna get him out at least one of these Thursdays, but he's a busy man as well.
Yes, sir.
Get out here, Tim. Tell him about your book real quick.
Yes, sir. My latest book, The Art of Being Still, is out now on Amazon. I got 2 more books dropping in June. One called Big Bad Wolf and one called Melanated Magic, Black Boy Poems. So make sure y'all follow me, Goodlife Russ, on everything, especially Amazon. Buy these books.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Until next Thursday, I'm excited on Wednesday about Thursday, man. Make sure you continue to tap in, man. This has been Goodlife Russ, aka the Uptown Morning Show, man. God loves you and we do too. We out of here. Peace.